Actually, I'm starting a feature. I leave for North Carolina next week. It's called I Know What You Did Last Summer, starring Love Hewitt from Party of Five.
Oh, okay.
And Freddie Prinze Jr. from To Jillian on her 37th birthday. And Ryan Phillippe, who I used to know when he used to be on One Life to Live when I was on All My Children.
And what kind of movie is this? Are you...
Suspense thriller.
Suspense thriller, action for you once again? Or?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
Great.
I gotta get my adrenaline going.
We are Je suis final girl. We're all final girls. And we've got a lot of them that we'll be covering this month. For anyone who is not in the know, we post all of our upcoming watches for the month on Instagram at Final Girls Club Pod. But if you don't have Instagram, we're doing Scream and It Follows next.
No, Ready or Not.
That was a test and you passed, Samantha. Good work. Good work. Honestly, keeping us always on track here at Final Girls Club Industries. Okay, let's get into I Know What You Did Last Summer, 1997 edition.
Mm-hmm. A girly pop classic.
A girly pop classic. I wanted to take us back to 1997, situate us in time with some really incredible pop culture facts. I wanted to just look at, what were the highlights of that year? Just a little movie called Titanic was released. A small group called the Spice Girls broke into the US market, and it was the debut of DVDs. So I don't know what was in the air, what was in the water in 1997, but
it was an exciting time to be alive.
It was an incredible time to be 9, which is how old I was in 1997.
Yeah, same. I don't know if you were trying to make it seem like I'm older than you or something, but
you no,
we are the same age.
We
you can say
See, and here I was just nervously trying to make sure I did my calculations right. I was reading off my notes and did a calculator to make sure I was correct. So
yeah, and I still don't know if it's correct because I can't do math either, but I just want the audience to know that we're the same age.
That we are 37. There's no like 30 and flirty or like 40 and sporty. 37 and living in heaven. I don't know.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know. It kind of makes us sound like we're already passed on. But I want to know what your experience was with the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, when you first saw it, what that was like.
I saw it at a party, like a 14-year-old party in a parent's basement. Lots of teens screaming, really fun stuff.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, kind of the same, but a more traumatic version. I was 10 and it was my first horror movie, and I didn't really know how scary that would be. I had a birthday sleepover, and my basement growing up was a scary place. I don't know why. Like, the rest of my house was like pretty nice, but for whatever reason, the basement, like, there were some parts of the roof that just had wooden boards with like nails sticking through them. It was like unfinished. I think there was supposed to be another layer put on top of that, so there wouldn't be exposed nails jutting out everywhere. And there were many different dark closets, and it was kind of moldy and damp, so it really cemented like the horror movie vibe. This movie made me scared of getting in the shower for the next 15 years. I'm not even kidding.
It's pretty scary. Like, for a teen movie, it's got some good scares in it.
For a little 10-year-old me, I can barely handle it now at 37, the age we both are. But at 10, it had me checking behind the shower curtain before I got in at least 10 years, no less than 15.
Right. Because of the ending scene, or
there's just a lot of like sneaking up weird stuff happening in the shower.
Yeah, there is two shower scenes, I guess, but there's never someone in the shower.
No, but there's
people nearby.
There's an ominous shower moment. That was enough
definitely.
for me.
That is enough. Well, yeah, no. Showers are scary. You're so vulnerable.
I mean, I'm fine with them now. Like, they're kind of nice.
I don't want to start any rumors. I do it.
Now I do. Yeah, my past unwashed hippie self, not so much. But now
not going to take any risks. That's how they catch you slipping.
Yeah, exactly. but now it is an everyday occurrence, contrary to
Nice.
perhaps like popular belief. Yeah, and I think it's what made rewatching it such a delight. It didn't scare me, and I realized my favorite genre of movie, I think, are horror movies that I've already seen. So I know what's happening and I can be calm about it. But that's a hard genre because you need to watch it the first time and you don't know if you're gonna like it or be really
Right.
traumatized.
Right. But with this one, you knew you were gonna like it because it's slay. It's cunty.
It's so slay. I'm gonna be bringing back the insult "eat me." Like such a good 90s insult.
Such a good 90s insult. Such a good 90s character. Elsa Shivers, Helen's evil older sister who exists only to be fucking evil.
Yeah. I know. I have to say in advance here that I know all the characters have character names. Is it okay if I just refer to them as who they are as actors? Because that's who they are. Like they're Sarah Michelle Gellar, Freddie Prinze Jr., Ryan Phillippe, Jennifer
And
Love Hewitt.
Jennifer Love Hewitt. Oh, so 3 out of 4 of them have a triple name. So that will
True.
add runtime to the pod, but that's okay. I will allow it. Although I do love the name Julie James as a bland protagonist name.
Okay, yeah. We can just every time I say it, we in post production we can be like that like squirrely fast forward.
Yeah, no, I think JLH, SMG, and FPJ.
I think. And I set us up to overcomplicate things. But yeah, Julie James is
It's fine. You can call them whatever you want. I think people will get it. Like if we're saying something like an evil man character will say, well, no, it's Ryan Phillippe and etc. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's not like this is such a hard movie to understand. Although it does have a good little plot, I will say. Should we take it from the top?
Yeah, it was less trashy and better than I remember. I remembered it as just being this trashy kind of shitty movie, but it's got layers. It's not like
Yeah.
you
No, it's
know,
good. It's held up, which
it
is like the nicest thing you can say about a movie from 1997 or before.
it sure has. So it's quite an earnest slasher film. You got your classic, you got your hot cool kids, and lots of wrestling with morality, guilt, witty dialogue, glossy
Mhm.
visuals. And it really was part of this whole late 90s third wave feminism girl power moment in pop culture where the protagonists were these strong, smart women.
Yeah, written by Kevin Williamson along with Scream and Dawson's Creek. So we're kind of in the same neighborhood with all these really smart, quippy kids.
Yes. Although they're not all that bright, it did bring back the memory that in 90s teen rom-coms or any kind of 90s teen movies, the brunette couple were usually the intellectuals and the blonde couple were the fun dumb sluts.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. I was shocked by how evil Ryan Phillippe was. I remembered him being kind of rough around the edges, but like still one of the gang and like a cool dude overall. He is like a huge red flag in this movie. He's not just a hot blonde dummy, but he is hot as hell. This movie.
he deeply imprinted on me at this
Oh my
time.
god. He is looking way too good in this movie. It is sick. It's crazy.
I had a creepy serial killer style like homage to him on my wall with all these different cutouts. Like at the end when he has all these cutouts of like their lives, that was me with him. And at that time, I think because of this movie,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what happened. I guess that's not like an original. It didn't
No,
like
but I mean, it's we can talk about it. We can talk about Ryan Phillippe being sort of a competitor for Leo DiCaprio in the pages of J14 at the time. He was looking good, but
in the annals of J14, he went down. Absolutely. Rose to the top. Also, what was that other YM?
yeah, YM, Teen People, that was very much the driving force of publicity for this movie. A lot of the readings that I did were talking about how this is unique in that it was kind of for the girls, centering the girls, marketed to girls, as the ideal consumer of this movie, obviously that's why we get the extended shower scene of Ryan Phillippe wearing just the towel, fighting for his life, but looking good doing it.
Yeah, I was realizing how that happened. The shower scenes are extended and gratuitous.
I mean, there's no like nips in this movie other than Ryan's, but yeah, we get a long look at his bod. Even
We
though
did.
it's based on a novel, wouldn't you know it? Four friends, Julie, Helen, Barry, and Ray, who accidentally hit a man with their car after a night of partying. This is a very good anti-drunk driving ad, as well as many other things, this movie. And they
Yeah.
kind of make it seem like the accident is all of their fault. They're all kind of to blame for it, but it's like, no, this is Ryan Phillippe's fault. Like, he's the
Yeah.
one who was chugging whiskey, hanging out the car sunroof, climbing over the driver, pouring liquor on everybody in the car, just being a menace. And he
Yeah.
is 100% at fault for this accident.
Exactly. If you have an ape in the back of the car going crazy, hitting the roof and harassing everyone, like it's their fault too. Like they were all fine, pretty level-headed. Actually, fun fact about the novel, the author, Lois Duncan, was not happy about the film adaptation. She said she was appalled by the decision to turn her novel into a slasher film.
I could see that. Like maybe she was going for like a meditation on guilt and then she got a sexy slasher movie out of it, which yeah, authors love to complain. Stephen King hates Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, but everyone loves it, so sorry.
Exactly. Exactly. Sorry you signed the rights away to your book. I'm sure you got paid well from this, but
Mhm.
we can't all control what happens to our art once we put it out into the world. Yeah, it is a real strong anti-drunk driving.
And they have the kind of built-in lore as we discover more about who it was they hit or what happened that night, that this is echoing back to another crash, another teen wreck of a tragic, we can only assume drinking was probably involved, but an accident where a young girl lost her life.
Yeah. I don't know if MAD is still a thing, Mothers Against Drunk Drivers.
Hmm.
I
Well,
haven't heard from them
maybe
in a
they could
while.
yeah, maybe they were like, okay, we did it and we can retire. People know that it's bad now. Um so let's talk about the girls. Let's talk about Jennifer Love Hewitt's Julie and Sarah Michelle Gellar's Helen Shivers. They are iconic. Fans love Helen. They wanted Sarah to live. They wanted her to be the final girl. And she still haunts the narrative. She's in the remake along, or reboot rather, along with J Love and Freddie Prinze. Ryan Phillippe didn't get the call, I guess, which is tough. But
He did not age well. Like, it turns out that in real life, he is who he portrays in this movie.
yeah, and he's not missed, but his younger self will live on forever in the posters he made back then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, there was a few bits of witty dialogue that I had to know, but one of them was Helen's character saying to him on the beach at the start of the movie when everything's going well, "I'll let you impregnate me with 3 children before you head to rehab." And I said, "That's some real life foreshadowing, unfortunately,
Yeah.
for Reese Witherspoon."
Right.
Anyhow, but yeah, Helen slash Sarah Michelle Gellar, she's my final girl. She is
Mhm.
my president.
Yeah. She took this like role that could have been a little bit thankless as like kind of the dumb friend and made it so rich. Like she's just acting the house down boots. You can tell on her face she's so scared in all the right moments. She has this like yearning to be closer to Julie, to get their friendship back. She's like reaching out for connection with her family, but gets shut down. She's like isolated and confused and trying her best to be a good person and learn how to make it right, these horrible things that they did. But she gets a tough ending. But we should take through the plot here. What's going on? We're talking about a small seaside community. This is filmed half in coastal North Carolina, kind of my home away from home, as well as the central coast of California. So we're getting a mix of low level, low lying land, low country, and cliffs. It's just this kind of scary seaside town where you never know if your car is going to fly off a cliff into the road or what are you going to find in the fishing nets that day. It's a lot of spooky stuff going on.
Big cliff representation in this movie,
Yeah,
for sure.
huge cliff representation. We are with these characters as they are partying and decide to just go on a little joyride. First, a weirdo at a party tries to talk to Jennifer Love Hewitt and he has to get rejected. Max. Talk about a thankless role. The like weird horny nerd role was very popular at the time. There was always someone simping for Jennifer Love Hewitt and getting rejected.
And in real life, there was always a real weird horny nerd. So
yeah, they still exist.
yeah. At parties in my younger days, they were abundant. Anyhow.
They go to a bonfire on the beach where they talk about urban legends and they talk about those stories where someone is hiding under the car or people are making out in the car and you hear a drip of blood on the roof and it's killer's victim in the tree and they all tell their different versions and Jennifer Love Hewitt likes to tell them that while it's actually just stories to scare women away from having premarital sex and the hook is just a phallic symbol ready to be castrated and she's already offering them analysis, academic analysis to help them out.
I know. And in response to that, I love how the character of Ray, Freddie Prinze Jr. says, "Honey, you know your intellect terrifies me." I actually love the reverence for her intellect in this movie.
Yeah, she's super smart and I guess rich. I'm not sure why she hangs out with this crowd. It kind of seems like a bit of a mismatch, but I think maybe it's just like her and Helen are best friends and then their stupid boyfriends are along for the ride kind of vibe more than a friend group.
They're young and they're all an 11 out of 10 level of attractiveness. I think that's enough glue to bind them together.
Yeah. They talk about how Freddie Prinze wants to move to New York and be a writer. And then Jennifer says, "Hey, let's have sex here on the beach." He's like, "Are you sure?" And she's like, "Yeah, baby."
And just before this moment, there's the last little snippet of some of my favorite dialogue from the movie where Freddie Prinze Jr.'s like, they're all getting ready to like go to college and go different places and Ray saying, "Move to NYC with me." And Julie says, "We can't all sit in a village coffee house and ramble esoterically on our laptops." And his response to this, "Nobody gets me the way you do." And then it keeps going. I was like, they're cooking here. Then Julie says, "I hate this. You're going to fall for a head shaven, black clothes wearing, tattoo covered, body pierced philosophy student." And Ray says, "That sounds attractive." And that put me right to the late 90s, right there.
Absolutely. So I guess this is supposed to be kind of her virginity losing scene. I assume at least she's a virgin from the question of "Are you sure?" and "Is the time now?" and etc., which is never a good sign in these movies. You never want to give it up. That just opens the door to the adult world come into your life and it's going to fuck shit up quick.
Yeah. Yeah, ladies, if you lose your virginity in some loose premarital sex, next you're burying a body in the ocean. You don't even know. One thing leads to another, domino effect.
It's a slippery slope. So, did you also watch the remake?
I did.
I did too, as background. It was pretty bad. I'm sorry to say.
It was
pretty bad. Yeah.
But I did feel that it captured the essence of the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, in that whether by design or just by default, the original was very of the time, and the remake is very much of 2025, like lots of references to like my crypto wallet and like hey queen, let's do a meditation.
Hey,
I don't know.
diva.
Yeah.
Yeah. Obvi, it's implied. Yeah, I don't know. It was a bit of a tough watch, but I did like the ending. I hated that it was shot in Australia. You can always tell. I like things to be shot on location.
Or at least if you're saying it's in one part of the US, but it's actually in California, that's okay too.
Yeah,
That's
that's okay. A bi-coastal mishmash of places is fine, but Sydney, Australia, come on. What are we doing here?
I think I was trying to find like redeeming qualities because I was coming off the high of this rewatch.
Yeah, it was fine. It was just like a TV version. And then there was also like it seemed cheap and made for TV. And there was also a TV show that I tried watching, but that was so bad I couldn't get through it. And so I've tried hard with this franchise, but this movie is definitely the crown jewel of all the.
Okay, so speaking of this franchise, I was watching and I was so confused until about three-quarters of the way through because there were flashes of things I remembered happening, like them going on a tropical vacation and being terrorized there and all sorts of things. And I'm like, when are they going to the tropics? What's happening? And I didn't remember that I had watched I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, and I think it was called I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
I don't know.
They just kept pumping them out. A killer who won't get killed? Perfect. Let's make as many as the public will watch.
Mm-hmm. I owned the soundtrack to this movie and it slaps. There's some rockabilly, surf rock, some classic rock, some alt rock on it. It's cool. It's fun. Yeah, it's fun.
I actually had a note that I wanted us to discuss the soundtrack at some point because it's so good.
It is so good. And I also had the Scream soundtrack and the Scream 2 soundtrack. And yeah, this was a time of when they paid for the soundtrack. So back to their night of evil,
Debauchery.
debauchery. And eventually it builds up to this horrible crash. There's blood everywhere. They don't know what they hit. And then they find a bloody boot, a rubber boot. So yeah, it's a tough moment. Julie's by far the most upset. She's looking to find this person and save them. And when they do, it's a man in a slicker who's just, his face is all bloody. They can't tell if he's alive or dead. Nobody is trained medically on how to tell. Lot of misunderstandings.
Yeah.
Barry says, if we call the police, we're fucked. And Ray backs him up right away. Like, he's like, I don't have the family connections that you guys have to get away with this.
Yeah, Ray is the male half of the intellectual brunette couple, and he knows it's not going to look good, even though he wasn't the one driving. Or he was the one driving.
Yeah, he was the one driving. And they're like,
But
well, he's not drunk, but he's like, well, there's alcohol everywhere. Yeah, we weren't exactly practicing safe driving. So
yeah,
Helen just wants to pretend they were never there. And Julie's the only holdout. She's still wanting to call the police, get some sort of medical care out there to try and help this guy. But right at the worst possible moment, who drives by but the weird, horny nerd from the party? And now they've got to hide the body and get this guy out of there while they figure out what to do.
the weird horny nerd is a buzzkill, always showing up at the worst moment, whether you're just trying to enjoy yourself at a party, you're trying to bury a body, whatever the context, it's
always an unwanted presence. But he does leave, and they transport the body to a dock where I remembered it as they just kicked him off the edge of the cliff where they were, but no, they put him in the trunk and bring him down to a dock and roll him off. But he's fucking alive. He like reaches up and grabs Helen's croaker queen crown off her head right before they kick him in the water, and then Barry has to dive down and get it back for his girl. And then he's alive again. Does another jump scare in the water and grabs at him.
Who knows if he's just really good at playing dead, if he was temporarily dead and he revives himself.
He can hold his breath for a long time, that's for sure. He's a very spooky individual. And yeah, I guess I didn't remember just how murdery it really was. They were like, hold him down.
I did. I actually have a harebrained theory about the role of the killer, which I'll tell you when we're done running through this plot here, but to me, he represents something bigger than himself.
We'll get there. So they know he's alive in the water. They don't stick around to see what happens. Barry says, listen, we need to agree this is now merely a future therapy bill. which again, great dialogue, love it. We're never going to mention this again. Julie's like pushing back a bit. She doesn't really want to agree to that. And so he choke slams her against the car and threatens her life. I'm like, didn't remember that either. He's a scary guy.
He's a bad man.
Yeah.
They should kick him into the ocean while they're at it.
Totally. He's got a real like murderous attitude to him. Anyway, flash forward 1 year later. They've all moved on. Julie's at school, but she's struggling. And because she's apparently looking horrible, quote unquote, as all the characters love to tell her.
Okay. Julie looking horrible is her hair is like day 4 of not being washed. And she stays that way the whole rest of the movie until things pick up right at the end. Barely greasy, like greasy enough that you kind of start to notice, but not enough that it would be glaringly obvious. But she looks like shit enough to everyone in this.
She has like the slightest like gray shadow under her eyes. She's maybe a little pale. Her roommate just roasts the shit out of her. She's like, your chalky pale corpse needs to go home and get some sun. You look so horrendous.
God.
I know, it's so harsh. The roommate drives her home and that's the end of her role. And Julie's costuming in the scene when she comes back home, she's wearing this, I don't know, Anne of Green Gables like hat and has this little teddy bear. She looks so sad and
she's emotionally regressing.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
And her mom's house is a decor style that has sometimes been described as Global Village Coffee House. If anyone wants to see more of that aesthetic or want to know what I'm talking about, there's a subreddit called Global Village Coffee House Aesthetic, and it's like the blanket with the sun and moon with the faces on it. It's very 1997.
It makes you feel soothed.
Everything about this movie made me feel soothed, except for the really gory parts. They say that whatever culture was when you were coming of age is what you're always going to think is the pinnacle of culture for everyone. So yeah, this was like ASMR for my eyeballs.
We are made to understand she's really going through it PTSD wise. And then she gets the iconic letter at her house. No postmark, no nothing, just a hand delivered letter. I know what you did last summer.
Very ominous.
So Julie starts rounding up the usual suspects, telling them someone knows what we did, someone's coming after us. We find out Helen never made it to New York either. She did, but she couldn't hack it, had to come back home, work at the family store. We meet her bitch sister, played by Bridget Wilson, who is a 90s icon. Barry is still looming up in his mansion. He's telling them this is nothing to worry about. By the way, you two look like shit run over twice. Julie says that she thinks the man they killed's name was David Egan. And that's because they found his body washed up a few weeks after and it was in the news and it was in the same area. And so she assumes that's who they killed and she's feeling really guilty about it. So they're asking, where's Ray? Apparently he's working up north, but actually he's just at the fishing docks down the road. They go loop him in on what's going on and they see that his coworker as a fisherman is actually the horny nerd, Max. So they're like, perfect. It must be this guy. He's the only witness. Ryan Phillippe threatens him. They get in a little bit of a scrap. And as soon as they leave, we see Max actually get murdered by the hook man. The first time we see the fisherman in his full gear, his big hat and his scary hook, and he guts him in his little fish room.
His little fish room, this fake fisherman. I love how all the fishermen in this movie, so Max and then Ray, aka Freddie Prinze Jr., are baby faced, completely clean. Their clothes have not a single mark on them. I'm like, we couldn't have scuffed them up a little.
Freddie put some guts on there.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr. later in the movie, and they're like, "Oh, you've been a fisherman for a year." His hair is perfectly gel styled.
His hair is so firmly gelled when he gets off that boat.
Firmly gelled.
Like, hey guys,
a crisp new black tank top, and not a scuff on him, not a blister, nothing. And he's like, "Yeah, it's been tough. Okay, whatever. You know what?" This works. We're
It
not.
does work. It absolutely works. Ryan heads to the gym to work out. He's a little stressed. He needs to hit the punching bag and then the industrial showers. But
Yeah.
little does he know, a friend is there. Not a friend, actually, someone very scary. And he chases him down, running naked through the street with his car and just fucking hits him, sends him flying like 40 feet. This was a real stunt.
This was a real stunt. Yeah, similar to Michael Myers, the killer in this movie has a level of movement that is very mindful, very very conscientious and nice and slow. And
Yes. It's like 25% brisker than Michael Myers, but it's still very measured and slow.
yeah, even if the target's right in front of him, he's like, it's all good. I will take my time. Which, side note, I heard that's also how you rewire your nervous system, is not walking quickly everywhere. Because then
Oh.
it's like sending a signal to your brain that like you're running from something, and it makes you more stressed than you
Oh.
realize.
Wow. Well, we have a lot to learn from the fisherman killer in this.
I
Um
know, mindful king. Anyway,
so Barry's in the hospital. And Julie, Ray, and Helen are like, this is it, guys. We have to tell the police. We're being blackmailed, stalked, hunted systematically. But Barry's like, it's not a big deal. We got this. He's just fucking with us. He's just some guy in a slicker. And he's completely laid up, but he still maintains an iron like control over the group. Like they all agree to his rules.
well, I mean, he's laid up. He has like one scratch above his eyebrow. He's in a hospital bed, but he looks fine. Like I know this, I think this was on the lower budget of movies, and clearly that budget was not being spent in the makeup department to give them that just got hit by a car and threw 40 feet in the air look, or I'm a fisherman even for a day look. That's okay. We don't need that kind of accuracy in this.
I thought he was like very hurt, but I guess my heart goes out to him naturally. So Helen and Julie decide to put their brains together and start doing a little old fashioned journalism, a little reportage. They're like, we're going to go figure out who this person is. We're going to drive to the countryside. We're going to start canvassing David Egan's family, get all the info that might have been missed in the newspaper articles, and figure out who related to him could be getting revenge on us now. So then we have this like side quest where they go out to sort of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre style like farmhouse, and we get the spooky Anne Heche.
Yeah.
She's so unnecessarily spooky.
She is so spooky. She's gaunt, pale. Everything in her house is faded and chipped. It's ominously quiet. Her name is Missy Egan. That's the name of her character. And she's lonely and sad. She's David's sister, and mama had to go away to the institution after her brother died, and she's all alone in this big spooky house. And the only one that's come to visit was a friend of David's named mysteriously Billy Blue that she was
Yeah.
real sweet to.
Yeah, she's like, we were sweet on each other for a time. And I was kind of like, what went on there with this
It was
Billy Blue? Was there some sort of hookup? Like, that's relevant. Or
that
was it just a flirty guy?
it seemed to be implied, but then they never revisited it or like really expanded upon it.
It's just left there like a creepy hanging little thing because later in the movie it's revealed that was Freddie Prinze Jr. He's the one who went to go check on her and had some sort of a relationship because he felt so guilty about what they did and he wanted to reach out to the guy's family too, which is very creepy and predatory.
Yeah, and also like plot wise doesn't fully make sense, but this movie was never going to be up for an Oscar. So
I
that's
think it makes sense.
okay.
And I think also that the remake kind of returns to that thread of Freddie Prinze Jr. always being like a bit of a creep. Like he just has this kind of sinister energy, low key the whole time, whereas Ryan Phillippe's is so high key, like sinister that he kind of overshadows him. But like he's weird. He's weird in this movie. He's always lurking about and keeping secrets.
Yeah, it's I think the way that Freddie Prinze Jr. chose to play him, because that's not necessarily inherently baked into his character in this movie,
Yeah.
but it's just the long lingering looks, and
Mhm.
that's the most scariest type of guy, the good old like nice guy, but I'm like kind of weird, and then maybe also a predator. And it's like the Ryan Phillippes of the world, they're storming around, yelling, smashing bottles. They're a bad guy. It's to avoid.
Yeah. Yeah, so when they're like going undercover, their code names are Angela and Jodie for Angela Lansbury and Jodie Foster. They talk about the Silence of the Lambs scene and how Helen's like, I don't want to go in there. There could be a serial killer in there. And the whole time, yeah, it's very spooky. We're not sure if the sister is the killer or whatever. There's lots of like scenes where she's like runs at them with a knife and then is like, what? I'm just twirling my knife.
Yeah. Yeah. And meanwhile, they continue to serve incredible outfits throughout.
Oh,
Sarah
my
Michelle
Lord.
Gellar reminded me of the existence of upper arm jewelry.
Mhm.
And how like incredibly cool I thought that was. What do you even
Yes.
call that? It's not a bracelet because it's on your bicep.
I
It's like a
know. I don't know. Upper arm jewelry nails it for me.
yeah. If you're a millennial, you know exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah. So they're in the car, they're driving back home, and Julie's again really heaping on the blame and the guilt, being like, we caused this person's death. We ruined all these people's lives that know him. And Helen's like, again, I think it was an accident. And I don't think we have the power to ruin all these people's lives. And actually, it's starting to sound like maybe this person, David Egan, blamed himself for the car crash the year prior that killed his girlfriend and went up to mourn her and was maybe planning to kill himself up there. So maybe we didn't even murder him. Maybe this was all just a big misunderstanding, which would be great. But she reaches out. She tries to get Julie to say, like, can we be friends again? Can we like be close like we used to be? But Julie shuts her out. And we get a little peek into Helen's family life. And it's really sad. Like, her dad doesn't turn away from the TV to even respond to her greeting. Her sister bullies the shit out of her, like, tries to get her to come into work. And she's like, Elsa, I have to be in the parade. Hello, I'm the Croaker Queen. Like, it's a contractual obligation. Barely gets the day off to go do her work as the queen. And she's just brushing her hair before bed in front of the mirror. And Elsa says, you're so pathetic about your hair. Loser.
All she has is her beauty within that family as
Yes,
currency.
exactly. Her due, as she says.
Mhm.
She loves her due. So she goes to sleep. And while she sleeps, the killer, who is hiding in her closet, sneaks out and gives her the cuntiest haircut imaginable. He goes for a heavily layered collarbone length. Like, not a single hair is shorter than the collarbone. Thank God. Imagine if he cut one side really short and she couldn't get a little cute little do ready for the parade the next day.
This is why this killer is so brilliantly diabolical, because if someone takes scissors and hacks at your hair in a really crazy way, you're gonna have all kinds of little short crate. You're gonna look insane, and everyone's gonna be like, "What happened to you? Clearly, you were attacked." If they give you a lob, no one's gonna believe you.
Nobody believes her.
Nice layered lob with good 3-4 inches off your hair.
Count yourself lucky. Like, you didn't
Yeah,
have to pay for the haircut.
gaslighting king. He knows that no one's gonna think that wasn't just her fashion direction she was taking.
Yeah. And he wrote soon in red lipstick on her mirror. So a bit of a double threat. Meanwhile, Julie's driving. She hears weird noises in her trunk and pops it open to see what's all in there. And it's Max's dead body crawling with crabs, dozens and dozens of crabs.
Dozens and dozens. Yeah. And when she goes in to warn her friends, brings them out to look at the trunk, everything's gone.
There
And
is not a single barnacle. There is not a single piece of seaweed. No evidence of these crabs.
not a single bit of evidence. And here's where I'm going to unroll my theory of who the killer is and the role he plays, which is the God from the Old Testament. Hear me out. He is eternal. He can't be killed. He is all knowing. He knows Helen values her hair the most. He punishes bad deeds. They tried to bury a body. He's like, I will haunt you all. He acts in mysterious ways, killing all their friends, but never them, but taunting them with little letters and little lobs that he cuts for their hair, and moves
Yeah.
with purpose.
He sticks close to them for a long time, just as God walks alongside us.
Yeah.
But, like, he spends so much time hanging out and stalking them, and, like, why did he spend all night in Helen's closet just to cut her hair and let her go to the parade the next day?
I don't know.
So, we're at the switcheroo in the trunk, and there's no evidence, so people are looking at her like she's lost her mind. But at least Helen says, "I do believe you." So this is the famous scene where Julie says, "He's out there, he's watching us, and he's waiting. What are you waiting for, huh?"
What are you waiting for, huh? What are you waiting for?
Amazing piece of cinema.
Incredible. And it was rumored that this line was the brainchild of a kid who won a contest to, quote, create a moment for the movie. And apparently, reportedly, Jennifer Love Hewitt was not thrilled about this at first, but it turned out to be great and one of the most iconic moments of the movie. It was also something I was waiting for the next line after, what are you waiting for my boobs to fall out of my shirt? But I think that was a Scary Movie moment. Did you ever see that? The parody?
I don't remember that line, but rewatching these has definitely got me wanting to get into my Scary Movie bag and get back to the parodies of the time. But her boobs do remain in her tiny little cami. The outfits in this scene are so good. We get Julie's in a cami crop top and a cardigan set, baby blue. Helen is wearing just a bra top, mini backpack, and all her hair tucked into a newsboy cap. And would you believe it? She's pulling it off. Like, she looks so cute in that newsboy cap, even though she looks bald. Like, she's so freaking cute.
She's the only one that can pull that off without looking at all like a milady kind of guy.
Yeah.
Our queen. Yeah, all the camis too.
Yeah,
So
lots of crop camis, lots of the bodies were on display. Like the final scene, she's wearing low-rise skinny jeans and a crop top cami, extremely unforgiving for crawling, but she nails it.
give them a retroactive Oscar for wardrobe, please.
Yes. So now Ryan Phillippe is thinking maybe Freddie Prinze Jr. is the killer because he's poor and he was so jealous of us this whole time. They're turning on each other a bit, but Helen and Julie are like, you know what? How about Julie brings the yearbook to Missy of the year that they think this guy, Billy Blue, whatever, graduated. Maybe she can point out who this character is in the yearbook. So Julie's off to the countryside. Helen is going in the Croaker Queen parade in her little clamshell float, even though they know this is July 4th. Okay, this is his day. So the stakes are pretty high. He might be planning something weird today. And now when we go back to Missy's house, it's somehow even spookier. There's turkeys strung up. She's listening to Where Did You Sleep Last Night by Lead Belly on vinyl, creeping around with her knife. But actually, this is just the big reveal that she thinks that her brother killed himself because he had a note on his desk that said, "I know what you did last summer," when he left and didn't come back that night. And she's like, so I think it was a suicide note. But Julie realizes the person that was stalking this guy is the same one that's stalking them, I think. So she's telling Missy, "I know that it was your brother, that we actually hit him, and I know that I killed him because I saw his Susie tattoo," which was the girlfriend. She's like, "He didn't have a tattoo." So now she's like, okay, shit, we definitely didn't hit and kill this guy, David Egan. I have to get back to my friends and loop them in with what I've learned now. So Helen is on stage and she has to see Barry up in the stands getting murdered by the hook man. and she's screaming. Everybody's telling her she's crazy. Nobody believes her. The cop is going up there, and he does a quick flashlight pan, and he's like, Barry who? There's nobody here. And puts her in the back of the cop car to take her home. And now this begins a 10-minute chase scene that is one of the highlights of this movie. And Sarah's in the back of the cop car. The cop pulls over to help a man with his car, quote unquote. Of course, it's the killer. It always is. Men don't need help with their car. It's fake. Never stop for them. That's my advice.
That's where I'm like, I wonder how many moments of our lives, how many recorded minutes we've spent watching Sarah Michelle Gellar run from a killer. I don't know how many minutes, but each one has been riveting. It's, I don't want to say her best because she has such an incredible body of work and she's amazing in so many different scenes, but this might be where she thrives.
Yeah, that's what the director said. He said he screen tested 3 actresses for this role and she wasn't his favorite, but they screen tested this breaking out of the back of the cop car scene and she just was so good, so compelling that she got the role.
Compelling, layered, exactly. Melissa Joan Hart was originally offered the role and turned it down. She thought it would be a cheap Scream remake, and thank goodness, because we would have had to be looking at her Republican ass face running a one-dimensionally running from the killer, and whole thing would have been not what it was.
It would have been off. Yeah. Sarah really goes through it. She gets a good mannequin scare. She jumps out of a 2nd-story window into a pile of garbage. She fucking books it and almost makes it. Just barely doesn't make it out to the huge parade that would save her. In a really sad reversal of the final girl archetype, I think a lot of audiences probably thought she was going to make it when this came out. And then when she didn't, it's like heartbreaking.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like it fits in so much with the movie. Even just the character arc, it would make more sense if she lived.
Yeah, it would have been really nice if she lived, but unfortunately the stakes are extremely high and many people die. So she does get murdered and Julie is going to try to find Ray. She discovers his boat is called Billy Blue and she's like, wait, you were the creep that was hanging out with Missy. And she's so scared that she backs away and another fisherman is like, oh, young lady, get on my boat. I'll save you.
Don't ever get on the boat.
No.
Don't get on the boat.
Come on. All she knows is that this is a big fisherman.
Yeah.
And that's the one. And as soon as she gets on the boat, it's filled with all these creepy pictures of her and her friends.
Yeah, she's book smart, not street smart. So
Yeah.
that's when that point's really brought home.
Yeah. So the fisherman reveals that I'm the guy. I'm mad at you guys because you ran me over and tried to dump me in the lake. And he's actually Susie's dad, who's been taking revenge on her drunk driving boyfriend. And now all these people who also tried to kill him. So he's a man full of revenge.
Full of revenge.
Great chase scene. Again, Jennifer Love Hewitt in the ice room where they put the fish. And then like in the ice, there's her friends' bodies. Very scary.
Yeah, we're giving a lot of flowers here to Sarah Michelle Gellar. Jennifer Love Hewitt is also incredible at being a scared, running, screaming.
Her scream is so good, which is like actually an underrated skill that not every actor has. A blood curdling scream. It's very important if you're going to be a scream queen, and she's got it.
It's hard just even as a person.
Yeah, I can't even think of the last time I allowed myself to scream really loud. I don't even know if I could do it. But I remember watching the behind the scenes of Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot with Jessica Biel, and she like can't scream, and they didn't like test that enough. So like her voice like will just give out and make no sound at all. And it was like a constant problem while they were filming.
She couldn't find her scream. She was like an AI. Have you seen people trying to get AI to scream and they're like, ah. And they're like, no, I want you to scream. They're like, ah. So Jessica Biel AI don't have that ability. Jennifer Love Hewitt, incredible piercing shriek.
Yes, amazing shriek. So Luckily, this all wraps up. Ray saves the day because he's a fisherman too.
He's a he doesn't look like he's been living on the high seas, but he has those skills buried within.
Yeah, they sit around while the police investigate. What ended up happening, the killer's hand gets chopped off, he gets thrown in the ocean. They're like, oh, he's probably dead. And for some reason, Julie's takeaway after all of this is like, we never even killed anyone. All this time I was feeling guilty. I had no reason to feel guilty.
And she immediately is more joyful, lighter, no PTSD from seeing this killer fisherman's hand get cut off and then thrown into the ocean after trying to kill her. She's just now a clean slate.
She was just crawling over the bodies of her dead friends trapped in this like fish ice room, and then she's like, oh, thank God this is all over. They didn't find the killer's body, but she has let herself radically forgive herself suddenly.
She does experience radical forgiveness. I was wondering if I had missed something in this because I was like, wait, relief and joy is what she's feeling in this moment. Also, she just discovered that her best friends are dead.
Her very best friend, who in the last time she saw her, she denied her request for friendship and connection.
But honestly, nothing compared to her knowing that she doesn't have any ownership in the murder of a man.
Yeah.
Except for the guy that they just threw into the ocean. But I guess if he is trying to kill you, then if you kill him, that's totally fine. No sweat.
It cancels itself out, and it's actually nothing to worry about if the person you tried to kill ends up trying to kill you.
We really see this when we jump a year ahead and her hair is washed for the first time since the beginning of the movie.
Her roots are lifted. She has a fresh blowout and she's just about to get in the shower, which is so crazy. But that's just the kind of embarrassment of riches she has at this time in her life. And she's having phone sex with Freddie Prinze Jr. She's like, Mister, you can ravage me in 2 weeks. Wow, she's over it. She's fucking over it.
Yeah. The type of girl who never lets her hair even get a touch greasy. She's just flouncing in and out of the shower, looking joyful, looking youthful.
Mm-hmm. We get a little double reverse scare here where she finds a note and she's like, oh my God, the killer's back. And then it's just a frat party invite. But then she goes back into the shower and there is actually a scary note on the mirror. So the killer is back. And then he jumps out to get her.
The frat party invite had the same handwriting as the killer, so I think that was just a setup from the killer anyway.
Oh, you think he put that there to give her a false sense of security and then double scare her?
How many people? It's the same thick marker and same handwriting. How many people have that handwriting? Or I know it's the 90s, but like handwriting invitations to college parties?
I know that frat was like impeccable manners and etiquette.
Yeah, dear Julie, please come
Julie
to
James. Yeah, please come to our frat pool party.
Yeah, that's not happening. So just setting traps left and right. That's why he is an omniscient, punishing godlike figure, because he's in so many places. He's so good at following all four of them at the same time, being anywhere they're going to be and knowing where they'll be next.
Mm-hmm. He is an omniscient god who's just dealing out retribution. So we have surprising amount of academic references for this movie, which I enjoyed. I was like, oh, this will be one that no one's ever written about and it's not seriously considered, but I was happy to see that it is.
Yes, I thought the same thing and I was pleasantly surprised. There's a lot thematically to unpack with this, but the first, which I'm appreciative of, is you bringing a new word into my lexicon, Bildungsroman. Bildungsroman.
Right. Yeah, it just means coming of age story.
A novel dealing with a person's formative years. Yeah, but I didn't know Bildungsroman. I like to always work on my vocab. Makes me feel intellectually superior. So that one will really help with that. But yeah, there is a lot written about centering the emotional experience of young women in this, which it obviously had been done in movies before, but it wasn't a common theme. Even the references to therapy, like, oh, this will just be another therapy bill, seemed ahead of its time. the fact that the girls were the cool, calm, intellectual ones while not being nerds, that was fairly new for a teen movie.
Yep. Julie's journey as a final girl, the way she's disbelieved, the way that she is ethically complicated because she was, even though a reluctant participant, still a participant in the original act of sin that they all do.
It's an interesting working into the whole final girl trope of complicity, because even though she's not responsible for the murder, she is implicated in it. And while she didn't want to go along with covering it up, she ultimately did. She's many things. She's not that innocent.
Yeah. And some of the readings talked about how Julie is explicitly shown to be having the symptoms of PTSD when she's in her "you look like shit, run over twice" part of the movie. She's withdrawn, she's depressed, she's lost her identity, she's very lost. And some authors like David Grevin say that teen horror films specifically, if we read them as a feminine coming of age story, that they are like a sped up, phallically fueled female Bildungsroman, tough, in which women rapidly develop into their adult selves, coming of age through frantic stress and murderous, if retaliatory, bloodletting. So the thought that this horrific ordeal, where when you're done, you're covered in blood and you've killed people and you survived and you have the knowledge of the adult world now, is simply an exaggerated coming of age story that we all grow through, like where you don't feel like you're growing up gracefully. You're dealing with like fear, guilt, responsibility, horrors, simply the horrors.
Yes. Almost none of us have been chased by a murderous serial killer, but almost all of us have experienced this, going from feeling like a kind of glossy, youthful person to all of a sudden you've been chewed up and spit out through the horrors of life and emerge as a more greasy haired, more mature and slightly sunken in version of
Yeah.
who you were when you were more innocent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's marked in a way forever. She's changed by what she's been through. And going back to what we were saying about how this movie was marketed to teen girls and circulated through magazines and that sort of thing, if you have that in mind as the intended audience when you're marketing something, it changes the text itself. What is the message that you're trying to say? And I thought it was interesting. Jack Halberstam writes that Gothic literature, which is the origin of all horror cinema, all classical horror as a genre, was largely written by women for women consumers. So it were like the original horror fans. And he argues that women often aren't avoiding certain horror movies because they don't like horror. They're afraid of seeing something that too closely reflects real life horrors, real forms of gendered threat like sexual violence. And if you want to make a horror movie that speaks to women, you can use things like irony, self reflexivity, meta critique of the genre, and have this like funny, knowing nod to women in the audience in the script.
Yeah, it's why horror hits so hardly for so many of the girls, gays, and theys, because it's this cathartic embodiment of the monster, the monsters of daily life.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Yeah,
we have
and
to conquer to get to the other side of adulthood, of existing, living our lives, getting home.
yeah, just getting home. An interesting slasher structure that was put together by a theorist, Vera Dika, who talks about how the stalker film has this structure where there's a past traumatic event that establishes the origin of the violence, and then a young community is guilty of a wrongful action. The past wrong is then repeated or commemorated through murders. Information is obscured, the heroine uncovers the truth along with the audience, and then there's a confrontation between the heroine and the killer, which she survives through intelligence. So that's the exact plot of this movie, and it's commenting on forgetting and remembering as being this very important thing in society, where the final girl is who she is because she is the one that sees, she is the one that remembers, she is the one that has this knowledge that the others don't.
Yeah, and ultimately, she reaches a satisfying conclusion. She comes out alive, whereas in daily life, there's not usually that often a crescendo. It's more like you're walking home late at night, and every time you're walking home, you're kind of looking over your shoulder and just hoping for the best, but it's not this big, like the way that this author Verodica details, it's not this sequence of things that ends in this big crescendo and then this satisfying confrontation and surviving.
Yeah, but what I do think is real that she writes about is that, like, at the end, where the final girl has her big confrontation, she survives. She's actually not okay. They say the narrative concludes when the heroine survives the ordeal, but she is not free. She remains marked by the trauma forever. That's real, right? Like, it changes you forever, but that doesn't have to be as nightmarish as it sounds. Like, you can embrace the changed version of yourself.
Yeah, we're still standing. We're here. We're hopping on the mic, laughing at our trauma. That's like what you have to do. And it's interesting what she brings forth, tying the final girl genre to its origins, to social context of the 1970s and when the final girl archetype was really emerging. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, how it echoes the anxiety of the collapsing nuclear family of the time, which we very much see in this movie. The parents aren't as absent as they are in Halloween, where they're simply not there. But like, these ones are as useless as if they were not there at all. And some of the readings I read were also talking about how you can tell that a slasher is a coming of age film because the teenagers are facing the threat as peers. There is no family protection. There is no more, your parents can help you out of this. The police or any other authority figure could help you out of this. You're completely left to stand on your own 2 feet and face the adult problems with just the brains between the group of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And in that whole, like, the youth needing to band together to help each other out because they might not be able to turn to their elders, the elders might not be eternally wise. There's also then the fear of the youth, what they're going to do, like the havoc they're going to wreak,
Yeah. Yeah.
and their
The
sexual sins.
Exactly. They're definitely sinning always. And the drinkers, the smokers, the sex havers are always going to be the ones punished first in the narrative. For whatever reason, that trope just sticks around.
Mm-hmm. The same author talks about how often the tone is set by a really idyllic, peaceful setting that's introduced, which sets the tone nicely for any kind of horror. And in this movie, I would describe it as coastal Americana. So it's a lot of old sort of faded flags and that seaside decor aesthetic. And the ocean serves itself as the place where they can absolve themselves. So originally they try to absolve themselves of their sins in the ocean. They reach their final conclusion, their final battle within the ocean. It's there to wash away their sins. This aesthetic has also been described at times as seaside Gothic, which I love.
Mm,
There's also like a claustrophobia to this fishing town. It feels locked
yeah.
in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's small, just their like little rituals, like the Croaker Queen, and it's feeling retro in a bad way sometimes, even though it is idyllic, it's suffocating.
Yeah, there's still the beauty queen, and it feels like a kind of classic, like 1950s, 1960s kind of vibe to the beauty pageant, but then she's at the same time very powerful and very smart. So,
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting blending together of different times and different messages. And among other things, it gave us the beautiful union of Sarah Michelle Gellar and Freddie Prinze Jr. in real life.
is that where they met?
It's where they met, and then they were just friends for 3 years, and then they started dating when all their other friends canceled on their dinner plans and they had to go alone.
And
Isn't
they're still together.
they're still together. And also, like, this movie, I think, greenlighted a lot of other movies. Because of this, we got Cruel Intentions, where she's back with Ryan Phillippe. Their chemistry still amazing. I Can't Hardly Wait, Scooby Doo. All this cast like really exploded from this.
Yeah, they absolutely peaked in that time.
Yeah.
And when we were talking about how Ryan Phillippe's character was much more of an angry tyrant than we remembered on first watch, I wonder if it was like a la Cruel Intentions. That's just what his role was, this angry guy storming around a mansion, being like upset and very rich.
Yeah, that's what he's
Appropriate.
got. Yeah.
That's what he had to work with, and he ran with it. I think it comes naturally to him. I think that's, as I said, also who he is in real life, and he does it well on
He
screen.
does.
Yeah. Okay. Final question. Where does Julia rank in our final girl pantheon? Or should we rate them all at the end of the month?
Yeah, we can rate them all after. I like that idea.
Okay. They're all our faves. You can't pick a favorite child, but we will at the end of the month. Do you have anything else to add? I think that's
I think
pretty
we
good.
covered it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's pretty good for today. This has been a thrilling ride through space and time. Thanks everyone for joining, and we'll be back next week covering Scream. And if you like the pod, follow the pod, rate it. That helps a lot. The people who've given us 5-star reviews, I see each and every one of you, and I love you. You are the final girl and that girl. And follow us on Instagram, Final Girls Club Pod, and on Patreon, weekly pop culture roundups at It's Become a Whole Thing, all in the show notes. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Bye.